Hey everyone, Ben Lipam here from Summit Prototyping and Design, and today we're going to show you guys how to make your very own stuff sacks. Stuff sacks are really useful with camping or traveling to hold your gear. They're the first piece of gear I actually made, so I learned how to make outdoor gear started from making stuff sacks. So let's hold it over to the table and show you guys how to get started. The reason I love stuff sacks and think that they're a great spot to start from is because they're so simple. Basically all you have is 3 stitches, 1, 2, and 3, to make these things work. And we're going to be utilizing the rolled hem seam that I showed you guys in our last video. So let's get some fabric cut and get started. So the piece of fabric I have pre-cut right now is 22 by 10. You can make these things in all different sizes based on your needs, but 22 by 10 is just a good starting point because it's big enough to hold a lot of stuff and it's long enough to start practicing your seams. So as you can see here in the fabric, I have the outside facing fabric, which is the good side, and here is the inside fabric. So keep that in mind. It's important to know what side is what when you get started. So to get started, we're going to lay it with the facing fabric, the outside facing fabric up towards us. And we're just going to simply fold right in half to get the basic shape of the stuff sack. Next thing we're going to do is our rolled hem seams down both sides. So just a quick refresher on that. Getting the rolled hem set up is as simple as just folding the fabric twice. So each fold I like to make about 1/4 of an inch. So you're going to have 2 folds of 1/4 of an inch to make it 1/2 inch seam. So there's 1 fold and a 2nd fold. And then we'll end up sewing right down the pipe of these guys. So let's head over to the machine and get started. Alright, so now that we're under the machine, we can get our rolled hem seams set up and sewn. So again, simply just fold once, and then fold a 2nd time over to create the hem, once and twice. And then just simply stick the end of the hem under the presser foot and put the needle down. From there, just make sure the rest of the seam looks good going down and all lined up, and we can sew. So I like to start again by sewing forward and back quickly to create a quick back tack. And then we can go. And then another little back tack to finish it off. Pull the presser foot up, grab a little snippy tool or a scissors, whatever you guys want to use, and snip the ends of the thread off. And we've got our first seam right down the fabric. Now we can do it again with the other side and simply again create that rolled hem seam by rolling it twice and sewing right down the pipe. We'll fast forward for you guys so you can see when both seams are done. Alright, now that we have both of our seams done, you can see that we're almost ready to just create the last part, which is the drawstring channel. Now this is actually the most complicated part of the whole thing. So when you're creating the drawstring channel, you need a spot for the drawstring to come out, which we're going to cut a hole in the fabric along one of the seams to create a channel for the drawstring to come out so you can close the bag. So the way we're going to create the drawstring channel is just like we did with the other edges. Is we're going to create another hemmed seam, but it's a little bit bigger. So what I like to do is make both of these rolls about a full 1/2 inch. So kind of a 1/2 inch roll once, and then a 1/2 inch roll twice around the whole bag to make the drawstring channel. But we still need a hole for the drawstring to come out. So what I typically do here is I like to measure. So since each fold is going to be 1/2 inch, I like to measure 1 inch down of the seam and cut out a little rectangle through the whole seam. So we'll just kind of ballpark that distance right now, probably about an inch there. And I cut all the way through the seam, maybe make a little 1/2 inch opening or something like that. And get rid of the fabric. So we've got a nice hole in the seam right here, if you guys can see. A notch cut right out of that seam. And from there, then we can get started. So I like to start here by opening up the fabric and rolling it down that 1/2 inch twice. And once you roll it down the 1/2 inch twice, you should see that your little opening is right here at the seam. And this is where I like to start sewing in the drawstring channel. So all I'll do first is put this part right under the machine and get the needle down so I don't lose its position. And from here, it's probably best to at least fold the fabric for the channel around at least once. The biggest issue you're going to run into while making this fabric channel is not sewing it shut or to itself like on the back side, because you can have 2 layers of fabric here. So you're going to have to constantly keep moving the fabric and pulling it around through the machine. So I've got one fold down here. We're going to make the second, going around a little bit. And we can get sewing, but again, I have to really make sure that I'm not sewing the other back side of the bag either. Back tack. Keep going through, keep going through. And then I'm gonna stop, pull out the rest of the bag, making sure my seam is all set and looking good, making sure there's nothing underneath here that's gonna get caught when the stitch goes through, and keep going. I'll sew a little more, stop, pull the bag out, and keep going. Sew a little more. Every time you stop, make sure you guys have your needle down all the way so that way you can pull on your piece and it's not gonna lose its position. All right, now I've reached the end, we can simply back tack again. Pull it out, trim all of our thread off. So now that our drawstring channel is done, we can turn the bag inside out, fluff it up a little bit, and you can see we have our drawstring channel sewn along here, and the little notch cut in for the drawstring, which is what the next step is, which should be to feed the string through the channel. There's a couple ways to do this, to get the string actually through it. What I like to do, and I've just found it to be easiest, is to use a wire to feed it through. So I just have a piece of wire that I just kind of bent to loops around the outside that I use for this. So I'm going to feed my cord through, which I just have some thin paracord, or shock cord works great too. Tie it in a little knot so it doesn't fall out as it's going through the cord, which will definitely happen as you do this. And I'll feed it right into the cut open end of the bag and just start feeding it through. Alright, so once you've got the wire all the way through, you can pull it out, and you can see now that the cord is actually running all the way through. So all you need to do is get the wire out again, so basically just fish it right back through, just being careful that you don't rip your fabric and it's on its way out, because that would not be good. Got it clean out. Now you can just cut your paracord. So the last step, all you need to do is add a little cord lock to it, which is simple enough. Just feed the paracord right through the cord lock. You can tie it off with whatever kind of knot you like. Just make sure it's thick enough that it won't go through the paracord. So you have to do it once or twice, and then you know how thick the cord is. So once you get that done, you can just cut the ends off, I'd recommend kind of burning them lightly with a lighter or something just to seal the ends of the paracord off. Other than that, then you have a fully working stuff sack that you just made yourself. You can use the drawstring cord to pull it tight, and then open it up, and there you have it. Awesome, thanks for tuning in, guys. Come back and check in with us again soon to see what we have for you guys next.